It's time for TWiT, episode 226, our pre-Christmas episode. Coming up, the inside story on the CrunchPad, mandatory ISP filtering in Australia, and the 3D technology behind Avatar. This Week in Tech is next.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for this edition of This Week in Tech is provided by CacheFly at CACHEFLY.com. This is TWiT, This Week in Tech, episode 226 for December 21st, 2009. The Sacred Straw Man. This Week in Tech is brought to you by Audible.com. Sign up for the Platinum Plan and get 2 free books. Go to audible.com/twit2 and follow Audible on Twitter. User ID audible_com. And by Squarespace.com, the fast and easy way to publish a high-quality website or blog. For a free trial and 10% off your new account, go to squarespace.com/twit. And by the new voice-activated Sync, featuring hands-free calling, music search, and turn-by-turn navigation. Available exclusively on Ford, Lincoln, and Mercury vehicles. For more details, visit syncmyridepodcast.com. This is TWiT, This Week in Tech, the show that covers all of the technology stories of the week in a kind of desultory, half-assed way, and then we analyze in an equally desultory fashion. Joining us, as always, he's the tech guru with his Great Wall of China hat on. Ladies and gentlemen, John C. Dvorak. Hi, John.
I'm here. Hey, I just got in from China.
Yeah, did you get that in China, the Great Wall hat?
Yeah, I got it at the Great Wall.
That's neat.
What do you think I paid for this hat?
43 yuan.
$2.
$2. I know. You know, it's stuff's cheap
They
in
have
China.
a long bill. This is what I used the hat for. It keeps me away from the mic.
For those not watching the video, he's now bonking the mic with the bill of his cap. That's kind of sad.
That way I can't get too close. I can't overmodulate.
That's a good idea. I need that.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, it's a mic away. Also here, Lisa Bettany from beautiful Vancouver, Washington. Hi, Lisa. It's great to see you.
Vancouver, Washington?
I mean, Vancouver, Canada.
Vancouver, Washington.
Well, isn't that like just over the border?
No, that's the joke of it. It's across from Portland.
Oh, that's very confusing.
It's actually quite a drive.
So did they steal your name or did you steal their name?
I'd like to think that we were the first Vancouver.
You were, because Gassy Jack blew up the gas works there in 1802. And that was the founding. I know my Vancouver history. You're pretty amazed, aren't you?
I thought the Vancouver name came from the island. Wasn't Vancouver Island named before the city?
Look, I'm just going to hold the camera on Lisa till she says something.
Let's ask Google.
She's Wikipediaing.
Oh, there you have it.
Are you Lisa? You're not. No, she's a native of Saskatoon.
Yeah, I'm a.
Saskatoon is the Paris of Canada.
It's the Paris of Saskatchewan. I'll give you that.
That's what somebody told me once. I've never been there. I've always wanted to visit
Paris?
Saskatoon.
What is Saskatoon? All I know from Saskatoon is the show Corner Gas.
It's a college town.
Is it?
Yeah, I mean, Saskatoon itself is a really pretty city. There's lots of rivers and bridges and that kind of thing.
But you got out of there as soon as you could, admit it.
Yes. I don't like the cold. I don't.
And she doesn't have the Saskatoon accent.
She doesn't. That's where.
Well, I can put it on though, eh?
Oh,
you know?
Yeah, there we go. Now you're talking.
Is that how they talk in Saskatoon?
Worse.
Oh, I don't think so. I think that's more like a.
That's Edmonton. That's Alberta.
Edmonton is wow.
That's Alberta. That's how they talk in Alberta. And this tour of Canadian accents brought to you by Ford Sync. No, I won't do that. And let's also introduce Andrew Warner. I'm so glad Andrew's here. I've wanted to get Andrew on the show for some time, actually. He is interviewed me for his website, Mixergy.com. Andrew's an entrepreneur, man who at a very young age founded a business that reached $30 million in annual sales. Cashed out after the web bust. You survived and did well. And then I guess you're just kind of, taking it easy, living a life of Riley, and you decided to start a site called Mixergy How would you describe Mixergy, Andrew?
Well, you know the way that you guys on MacBreak Weekly investigate insanely every Apple product that comes out?
Yeah,
well,
obsessively.
I do the same thing with internet businesses.
So you study entrepreneurship.
Exactly. I want to know everything about how they got their first users, how they made their first few dollars, how they grew, how they sold. Like that kind of in-depth conversation is what I do with entrepreneurs like you. You came on Mixergy, as you said, and you talked about how you built up TWiT.
Yeah, so you've had Gary Vaynerchuk, Tim Ferriss, Jimmy Wales, that kind of people. And the reason you're on, we're going to talk about this in a bit, you just interviewed Chandrasekhar Radhakrishnan, the guy who is building the Juju, the guy who took the CrunchPad from Mike Arrington, and we're going to get his side of the story. I'm fascinated to hear what happened, and it's not the same story we've heard so far.
Huh.
So that should be interesting. We have all the tech news, too. But before we go too much farther, I want to mention somebody who's a friend of TWiT, Roz Savage, who did a show with us for a long time. Roz Rose, she's the woman who was rowing across the Atlantic. She was the first one to row across the Atlantic, and then she is rowing across the Pacific right now with the idea to become the first woman to row solo across the Pacific Ocean. She's doing it stage by stage. She's completed stage 1 and stage 2. We covered those with the Roz Rose podcast. She walked to Copenhagen from London for the Copenhagen Climate Summit. In Copenhagen, everything she owns was stolen. Wow. Her computer, her laptop, her phone, all her gear, everything was stolen. Last night, my coat and bag were stolen while I was at an event in Copenhagen. In my bag were my laptop and iPhone. I have no insurance, no money. She walked there, no ride home, and now no credit cards.
There?
It's a long walk. She's
how do you get there?
She's an adventurer.
But from London, how do you walk to Copenhagen?
Well, there probably was a ferry involved.
Well, that's not the same as walking.
She walked while she was on the ferry. She probably kept stepping. Or ran to keep up with the ferry. Anyway, there is a fundraiser. This is the last day of the fundraiser. Nikki Gordon Bloomfield organized this to try to get enough money together to get Roz at least kind of somewhat replace her stuff. It's on giveforward.com. If you go to giveforward.com/Roz's stuff, ROZSSTUFF, last chance to donate. They're about halfway to the goal. They've raised a lot of money, $3,600, but they need $6,500 to replace everything, including her laptop and her phone. And Roz is a great person who really has. What is that you're flashing, John? What is that? Visit channeldvorak.com. Only John would be crass enough to plug Channel Dvorak while I'm giving an impassioned plea.
Hey, we should get the girls some gear from some of these vendors and just have them ship her new equipment. Come on.
Yeah, you're right. But, I think it's kind of cool that her fans have
I think it's great.
Gotten together and they've raised so much money. And so that's I wanted to give that a plug. Give forward.
How did she get? What happened? Was she at the bus stop? She turned around, boom, her stuff was stolen. I mean, how much thievery is there in Denmark?
Well, you wouldn't think. I mean, I thought Denmark was like safe and, I don't know. It's the Vancouver of Denmark.
Really?
I think so.
Okay.
Copenhagen.
I've been to wonderful, wonderful Copenhagen. It's a beautiful city.
I've been there a few times. It's really nice. It's gorgeous.
Tivoli Gardens, beautiful.
No, I've never made the gardens, unfortunately.
Well, you got to go. I was with kids, and it's kind of an amusement park. I was there. It was really fun. So, Andrew Warner, you got to speak with Chandrasekhar. Chandra, he's called.
Oh, by the way, you never introduced me, Leo.
I believe I did. Remember the hat that bumps into the microphone?
Mm-hmm. You mean this?
Yeah. John, you're turning into my mom, and I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Hey, your mom's my biggest fan.
She loves you. She said, you cut that part out where I said I was his biggest fan. I said, no, I didn't cut that out. You were in there, Mom. Mom got a lot of...
sorry. Go ahead.
Mom got a lot of fan mail. Andrew's turned bright green. What's going on, Andrew?
Where's my camera?
He's plugging it.
Should I turn my camera off and back on? I see myself in the little window on Skype.
Yeah, plug it in. I don't know what happened.
There we go. Yeah, I've been broadcasting it. Looks like it's back.
It's back.
All right, so let's hear the story, the real story, or one of the stories.
So you interviewed, and you can hear this interview at Mixergy.com. This week you interviewed Chandra. Tell us his side of the story. Maybe we should recap that Mike Arrington at TechCrunch a year ago announced he was going to build a touch tablet called the CrunchPad that was going to be kind of open source, community developed. He, at some point, teamed up with Chandra's company, which is called, what's it called? Fusion Garage. And then they were about to debut this a couple of weeks ago, and the 2 days before the debut, according to Mike, Fusion Garage shows up, sends him an email saying, that's it. We're taking the prototype. We're going to sell it on our own. They renamed it the Juju Pad. Mike says we're going to court, but the CrunchPad is dead. All we've heard so far is mostly Mike's point of view, and then now they did do a demo of the Juju Pad. We've seen video of it. What does Chandra say happened, Andrew?
Well, first of all, I saw that demo. I had him demo it in the interview, and this device is beautiful, and it just reaffirms our excitement for a tablet. You see it, and you start to instantly understand where it fits into people's lives. And I could see myself flipping through magazines, watching videos on this device. So what Chandra says is that he had the device before he ever got together with Michael Arrington. He says he met Mike at TechCrunch 50. He showed him a prototype of the device, and Michael Arrington got so excited about it that he said, I want to buy out your business. Like right there, same day that he
was this after Arrington had said we're going to do a CrunchPad?
Yes. As I understand it, yes.
Okay.
Oh, no, so wait, let's get the timeline.
This is kind of what, John, this is kind of what you hypothesized happened.
Yeah.
So what's the timeline?
The timeline, I actually don't know the exact dates on this, but
I don't care about the dates. I want to know the sequence of events.
So
I see. Okay.
It sounds like Arrington had announced the CrunchPad and began development of it. TechCrunch 50, was it this year's TechCrunch 50 or a year ago's TechCrunch 50?
A year ago, it sounds like.
Okay, so it would have been very shortly after the CrunchPad was announced then.
Right. So Michael Arrington decides instead of building it himself, this guy, according to Chandra's got a device that's already starting that's already getting close. He's got a prototype. He says, I want to buy your business. Chandra gets excited that he has a potential buyout, and he starts to talk with Michael Arrington and his people about how they can work together, how they can buy out his business. He says that it sounds to me like he's being a little mysterious here about what went on behind the scenes, partially because of the lawsuit. But what he's saying is that because there wasn't a buyout, he couldn't put the name CrunchPad on his device. And because there wasn't a buyout, Arrington and the TechCrunch people didn't contribute nearly enough to claim partial ownership of this.
So he says that basically Mike defaulted on his agreement to buy him out.
Yes, and he also says that the guys from TechCrunch had nothing to do with the development of the pad.
Now, Mike says we bought a house. We had developers from a Fusion Garage and CrunchPad developers all working together in a house. Does Chandra deny that?
He denies that they've had any input in the creation of the device. He says that he and his people designed it, everything from the software to the hardware to the user experience. And I pressed them on this over and over again because, user experience is tough. And for a company that's never created hardware like this before to come out and create something so beautiful that's so intuitive, to me sounded a little suspicious. But he kept saying that he and his guys had the experience to build this thing and they did it on their own. And he also says that time that the TechCrunch people were in Singapore, where TechCrunch says that they were at Fusion Garage's office helping them think through the pad. Chandra says they were only in his office once. The only reason that they flew to Singapore was to talk about a potential buyout. It sounds like he thinks that TechCrunch was dragging their heels, that they weren't making this buyout happen fast enough. And if they're not going to buy them out, they haven't contributed anything to the pad. Chandra took the pad and named it and started selling it on his own.
So here's the chronology. I'm looking at Wikipedia. According to Wikipedia, the CrunchPad project was announced July 2008. Now, TechCrunch 50 in 2008 was in September. So Mike would have announced this in July, and 3 months later, 3 months later, I guess, seen this device at TechCrunch 50.
And flipped.
Well, now and now he did have a group led by Louis Monnier working on a CrunchPad. And they had prototypes. They had prototypes that they showed in early 2009, in April 2009. In June, they had the near final industrial design.
Was it their prototype or was it the other guys? Was it the Indians?
Mike Arrington writes that the hardware, software, and industrial design improvements seen in Prototype C, the third prototype, were all driven by Fusion Garage. And this is a quote from TechCrunch, but one thing I've learned about hardware in the last year is that you need partners to actually make things happen, and the credit for what we saw today goes entirely to the Fusion Garage team.
So it was the Fusion Garage product.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, and
and that's what Chandra kept saying over and over again. The TechCrunch on their blog in person kept giving them credit for designing, developing this pad.
In July 2009, it was reported that Arrington had founded a company of 14 employees around the tablet in Singapore. But you're saying Chandra said that Singapore office was our office.
Yes, he's saying that as far as I know, TechCrunch did not have an office in Singapore. But Chandra is saying that the TechCrunch people only visited his office once, which sounds surprising that they go all the way to Singapore and only be in the office one time. Even if you're doing due diligence to buy out a company, I'd expect after all that trip to go into their office and spend some time with them.
We got a real case of he said here. I don't.
But at least now we see both sides of it. We see that Chandra saying that he did the whole thing on his own and TechCrunch didn't have any input in it. TechCrunch is saying they developed it and these guys stole it from them. And now
in regards to the one visit to the office in Singapore, it's possible that he was going to Singapore for more than the one thing. I mean, there's a lot of things to do when you're in Singapore, and it could have had meetings of all sorts.
Well, that's true too. Yeah.
I mean, so I don't think they took a trip to Singapore to stop by and say hello and then take off and go back home.
Here's the bigger question, though: is there? So you think that there is a market for this based on seeing it, Andrew? That you think this is and at what price?
It's stunning, and there's nothing like actually seeing the device, especially after we saw that ESPN video where they showed what they would do if there was a tablet out there. When you see what magazines have in mind for this thing and you see the device itself, you start to imagine how it would fit into your life. Now, I don't want another device. I've got my MacBook. I've got my iPhone. I buy too many gadgets as it is. But if you think about it, this thing is about the size of a magazine, a little thicker than a magazine. You could see yourself on the couch reading a magazine on this thing. You can see yourself in bed reading a magazine with this thing. And in fact, you think about the Kindle, which only does one thing, which is read books. You compare it to a tablet, whether it comes from these guys or comes from Apple or someone else. You say, who would want the Kindle that only does one thing?
What do you think, Lisa? You're a gadget hound. Is this?
I am a gadget hound.
Is a tablet attractive to you as something you'd want?
I have to say that I wasn't swept up in the Kindle fury at all.
Well, you couldn't be because you're in Canada. Right?
Exactly.
It doesn't work in Canada.
Exactly. But even the concept of it, I mean, I actually read a lot of stuff on my iPhone. And I mean, when I'm not reading on my iPhone, I have a laptop or I don't know. I guess the concept hasn't really caught on. I like to work.
What if you could buy a device that's twice the size of the iPhone to read your books on?
But then I'd have that and an iPhone and a point and shoot and a camera and a laptop. And
right.
I think that, I mean, I guess if we're looking at, devices becoming more all-inclusive and getting rid of all the bits and pieces, that's sort of a good step forward. But I mean, when I've already invested in all the stuff that I've got, I don't know if I want to add another piece of gear to my bag. So
it sounds like you want the iPhone to do everything and are content with the iPhone even as a reader.
Yeah. I love my iPhone.
Even if Apple you haven't drunk the Apple Kool-Aid to the extent that if Apple came out with a tablet in the next 9 months that you would say, "Okay, well, I'll buy that."
No, because I haven't even hopped on board with the new MacBook Pros or, I kind of have
this is kind of my feeling. I agree with you.
Yeah. I mean, I've got what I need and, I don't have, the money to just go spending on, every new little gizmo. And I think, what you're talking about isn't something that would appeal to me in that sense.
John, haven't we seen tablets already from a lot of companies? Microsoft tried to do this a couple of times.
Well, the
I mean, the UMPC, the Ultra Mobile PC.
We have seen maybe 4 iterations of tablet computing.
Going back to Grid and Slate.
Yeah, going back further and further and further, and they keep going back. And the problem, I still believe, they keep improving the technology. The public still doesn't buy them, and I think it has something to do with the price. I think they're just too expensive. People already have a laptop. If you can get, unless they bring them down to about half the price of a laptop, I don't see them going anywhere.
CrunchPad was
that's the key.
CrunchPad was supposed to be $200, and now the Juju is what, $400, Andrew?
Or
$499.
$500.
Yeah.
That does seem like a pretty high price point when you get a netbook for $250.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, why would you want that when you could have a netbook or something that could do everything and you could type on and
Johnny,
not falling in love.
Our friend feet chatters say, hey, you remember yuppies. Yuppies want it. Status symbol. It's
yuppies
a yuppie.
are dead. All the yuppies are dead.
I think the yuppies, they got burned out by
wiped out.
Yeah, they're gone, man.
Mm-hmm.
There's no yuppies here, man. All the yuppies is gone. Well, so it's interesting. What do you think is going to happen, Andrew? Do you think this is you love this? Do you think this is a market?
I do. I think that now we're starting to see content being potentially created for this device. I could see people getting into it as a laptop replacement.
I'll tell you right now, I'm not going to buy something where there's a lawsuit swirling around it, where there's...
Why?
Because...
What difference does it make?
Because you don't know if that company's going to be around.
So what?
People care about that, John. People don't buy products from companies that are not going to be around.
Yeah, but what difference does it make? You buy the product, it either works or it doesn't, and if the company goes broke, so what?
No, look at Arcos. Arcos has been making this kind of product for years, but because they're in France and nobody's ever heard of them, we even gave them the Best of CES award in 2003, I think, for the early Arcos products. But this is where Apple has such an advantage, and Amazon too has such an advantage. They have the supply chain. It's soup to nuts. You know the company's going to be around. They're going to support.
I think you contradicted yourself. Is Arco still in business?
They are, but they're not exactly.
Well, that seems to be a prerequisite for what you just said, that they have to stay in business. They stayed in business. It didn't do them any good.
They've survived. I don't think it's exactly thriving. I mean, people buy. The Arcos has a tablet. Did you know that Arcos has a tablet?
As far as I'm concerned, if I buy a piece of gear and the company goes broke the next day, as long as the product still keeps working, I'm only going to have it for a couple of years anyway. I mean, I'm not going to keep the thing until look at how many, for example, let's take a look at the iPod. How many iPods do you personally own?
Oh, God. Well,
come up, is it triple digits?
It's like candy. No, I mean, probably half a dozen.
Well, John, I think a better question is, how many times have you returned one of your computers to Apple or had them replace a screen or had them fix a keyboard? These devices do potentially have trouble, whether it's scratches or dead pixels. You want a company to stand behind it.
My Juju is broken. Who's going to fix my Juju? I broke my Juju. The whole thing doesn't.
You broke your what?
That's what they're calling it, the Juju.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of something else.
The name's a bit off-putting.
Yeah, more than a bit. Oh, well. All right. So, I enough said. Somebody just pointed out that I just bought a Pioneer plasma TV, even though they're going to stop making them.
Aha! They got you. They nailed you. That's the excuse. That's what I was looking for, that piece of tidbit.
John's always looking to nail me.
Well, not
literally, but just, you're always trying to catch me off.
Just catch you, so you trying to make sure your game is, you're on your game.
But I just feel like, look, Pioneer's not going anywhere. They're just not going to make the. I wouldn't buy. Would you buy a TV from Joe's TV and Appliance?
No, probably not.
No, you want to buy it from a solvent company. I think Fusion Garage is the tech equivalent of Joe's TV and Appliance.
I think the other thing that's hurting them is this potential Apple tablet. We're all standing back and waiting to see if that comes out. Nobody wants to buy the Juju or any other
shoe
device.
Has to drop. You're right.
Yeah. Until Apple says one way or the other. Until we know
rumors are that may be 9 months. That may be September.
So would that be the Juju shoe?
The Juju shoe. Okay, we have a name for the show anyway. Let me write that down.
Juju shoe. And it has to drop.
The Juju shoe is about to drop. Hey, we're going to take a break and come back with more with our great guests from Mixergy, Mr. Andrew Warner. John's putting up his card. John C. Dvorak from channeldvorak.com. It looks like you printed that out.
You think?
Like you're prepared.
I just did it a minute ago.
Is this so like you can change clothes? Is this like the
yeah, I'm going to go back to the wardrobe change.
This modesty screen.
This way I get to see what these different outfits look like, and then I can determine what I have to do to look good on TV.
Lisa, do you know any other guys who call their clothes outfits?
Maybe a few, but they're very metro.
Yeah.
So.
John's metro. John is pure metro.
If anybody's not metro, it's me.
I don't know what John is, but you're right. I don't think it's metro. Lisa Bettany is also here from MostlyLisa.com. We're going to continue with our conversation in just a bit, but I do want to remind you that Ford is just breaking new territory all the time with the amazing Ford Sync, and I hear we're going to hear some great stuff from them at CES. We'll be there to cover it. In fact, Lisa, we're trying to figure out.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get you to drive my Mustang down.
Me drive?
Oh, you didn't know that there was driving involved?
Well, I thought Kiki was going to drive.
No, Kiki's flying.
What? I'd be driving by myself?
We'll find some people. So here's the deal. So when we first started our CES thing, I thought it was just going to be fun. So I booked 8 first-class tickets on Virgin America to Vegas for the staff. It was going to be their reward for hard work. But then CES got heated up. We started getting interest. We're going to cover it.
Right.
So we're going down, but we've got those tickets. But we are now shipping equipment down. I think Cody's going to be driving the equipment down.
So you want me to drive your gear down?
No, we got a guy driving the gear down. I want you to drive my brand new 2010 Ford Mustang, candy apple red, 19-inch wheels, V8. Can you drive a stick?
No.
Well, this whole idea has just gone to hell.
Lisa, you're not supposed to admit that.
This whole
you have to
idea
drive the car one way or the other. You'll figure it out.
Gone.
I can learn.
I can learn.
I could take lessons.
I can learn on my Mustang. Okay. Well, see, the idea was Ford was going to sponsor this trip. We were going to stream Lisa driving to CES, the road to CES with Lisa and the Mustang, listening to the tunes on Ford Sync. Hey, I got to play you something. This Ford Sync is the hands-free Bluetooth music search, turn-by-turn navigation. I got an unsolicited email from John Belmont, who is a good friend, an old radio guy, many, many years. You've probably heard him on AP Radio News. Was he on CBS Radio News? He's currently on POTUS on XM. And his brother is Jeff Detro, is also a very well-known radio guy. He was with Jeff and Jer on the morning team in San Diego. And Jeff bought, he's never heard the show before, but he bought a Ford Flex and sent John this voicemail message. And by the way, John's given us permission to replay this, as has Jeff rather. And this is unsolicited testimonial.
Okay, so Lisa was up in my car, and I actually bought my car this time. I bought a new Ford. So check this out. You hook up your iPod to your Ford, and it's probably, I think I have 4,000 songs on there, but half my CD's loaded, right? Check this out. Here's how you play songs. I'm going to put you on speakerphone. You're going to love this. All right, so right now I'm listening to a great Burt Bacharach song, Magic Moments by Barry Como.
Oh, jeez.
But I feel like listening to something else, so I'm just going to call it up. All right. USB. Play track, South American Getaway. Thanks for a second, and... All right, now how cool was that?
This is an unsolicited testimonial.
I basically have like 10,000 songs on this mammoth iPod that cost me $200 through Amazon. All right, here we go again. Ready?
This is a guy who just got his Ford Sync and completely unsolicited calls his brother and says this thing is amazing and does a demo for him.
I'm not kidding you. Here we go again. Here we go. One more time.
He's leaving a message.
Here we go.
USB.
I got to tell you, when you become a Ford Sync owner, this is the kind of crazy message you leave. Thank you, Jeff Detro, for letting us play that, and John Belmont for passing it along. You got to try the Ford Sync. Go to syncmyridepodcast.com and check it out. Or, best thing to do, go to your nearby Ford, Lincoln, or Mercury dealer and say, I want to test drive Ford Sync. And come see us at CES. Watch Lisa Bettany strip the gears on my brand new Ford Mustang.
I'm an okay driver.
I think it'll be fun. We'll figure this out. We want you to be at CES, but we need somebody. We'll fly you to San Francisco. You don't have to drive from Vancouver. In fact, you know what we should probably just do is drive you to just outside of Vegas.
Yes.
And then put you in the
And then
car.
drop her off.
Drop
and
you
just
off.
push the car.
Yeah. And you can just we'll roll the car into town. Yeah, no, this was a great idea Kiki had. She neglected to ask you a couple of things. Now John's got his new outfit on. He is wearing the Boise State Broncos T-shirt.
Well,
and
that's a T-shirt.
Yep.
That somebody says, but this is the Kansas Jayhawks hoodie.
Oh, man,
Kansas
that looks
Jayhawks, baby, #1.
good. John, are you in a rap crew? You have like a special,
Yeah.
What do they call? What do they call that? What do they call that when you're in a group of rappers? Is it a crew? Or that's
crew.
Mardi Gras.
That's it. That's the ticket.
You're in the crew. Oh, golly. Good golly, Miss Molly.
Kansas Jayhawks, baby. #1.
#1. Yeah, baby. Jayhawks. All right, let's talk about some other stories. Australia.
How about tech stories?
Tech stories. Australia. We have a lot of listeners in Australia who are just going crazy about this. Google, in fact, has posted a blog. The government in Australia plans to introduce mandatory ISP filtering, the first of its kind among Western democracies.
Yeah, classic.
Professors Catherine Lumby, Lila Green, and John Hartley, untangling the net, the scope of content caught by mandatory internet filtering, has found the kinds of content that could be prohibited under the proposed filtering regime includes not just child sexual abuse material, which of course is always the stalking horse for this kind of filtering, but also socially and politically controversial material, educational content on safer drug use, politically controversial crimes such as euthanasia, content that's merely unpleasant or unpalatable to the regime.
That's probably why Dvorak Uncensored will be censored there.
Yeah. So now Johnny Worthington is in Australia. He's listening to the show right now. And John, I would love to get your opinion on this. Let me give you a phone number to call, Johnny, because I would very much like to get your opinion on this one. You can use Skype to do this, Johnny. Just call that number, Johnny. Call it, Johnny. We're waiting for you.
You like saying Johnny.
I like saying Johnny.
Hey, Johnny.
Hey, Johnny.
Why don't you call?
Oh, God. Go ahead. Do that again.
Yeah, you do that. He'll call in a minute.
Do that again. That was... I want to call now.
I don't know what she
Hey, Johnny. We want to hear from you. Why don't you just call?
How do you do that? How do you do that voice?
She just has that voice built into her.
Is it just built in?
It's just there. It's just ready to come out.
Doesn't seem
whenever.
right. Doesn't seem like... There he is. Hey, Johnny.
Hello.
So what's a...
Hello.
Hello, Johnny. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
From Brisbane.
Yes, Brisbane.
That's in Australia.
Yeah, on the east part of it, yeah.
Yeah. What's the story with this ISP filtering?
Basically, the whole issue comes down to is that parents in Australia, and this is where it's pitched at, parents in Australia don't really understand the internet. So rather than actually taking an interest in their kids or monitoring their kids, they're actually, it's easier for the politicians to go, no, wait, we'll do it for you. You don't have to think about the scary computers. Let us do it for you. And then they put in these filtering, and the problem with it is it doesn't really work.
That's the biggest problem with all internet filtering. It's crap.
It is. It's total. It just doesn't work because the people who really want to find the stuff either aren't doing it through the normal channels or find ways around it, and the people who are looking for it, like the people who aren't looking for it, are just going to get caught up in the web. So it's like it's basically just pure political crap. Basically.
Hasn't this been kind of floating around for at least a year or two?
It has. The only problem is they haven't been able to make it work. That's the big delay.
I remember that the first time they pitched this, they didn't they offer a free filter to all families on their own computers, and it was cracked the first hour. It was cracked.
It is, and they actually still have that. And the biggest problem is that it's not opt-in, it's opt-out. It's not opt-out, it's opt-in. So everyone gets switched on by default. So rather than educating people and saying, look, hey, I actually think putting a mandatory filtering on ISPs is a good idea. I think if parents can't understand and look after their kids, this is a really, really good thing to do.
But they should choose it. They should choose it.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
So what is the status now? Is this law?
Not really. It's kind of weird because our parliament's sort of on a break at the moment for Christmas and everything like that. So they've tried to bring it in, and it's not necessarily working. And they've just finished the trials, and now they've gone, right, this is cool. We're going to go ahead and do it. But they've still got to get it through the parliament, I believe. The last little bits have got to go through the national parliament. And the biggest problem for us is that geeks in general, or people who use a lot of computers, are very easily sidelined. So if we make a lot of noise, they can go, oh, don't worry. If you speak out against censorship or filtering against child pornography, everyone's going to go, why are you doing that? Rather than actually thinking of the issues and going, no, this is actually about freedom, information. I mean, I'm a 29-year-old male. I should have the right to view what I want on the internet. The only problem is it's very hard for me to say that without someone going, well, do you want to look at kiddie porn?
Yeah.
That's the straw man argument. It's ridiculous. They've made this thing the be-all, end-all of all decision-making.
Exactly.
Because it's a sacred cow. You cannot straw man, sacred cow. You take your choice. You cannot.
It's a sacred straw man.
It's a sacred straw man. You cannot stand up and say, I'm against it, because then they can easily say, oh, so you believe in child pornography.
Won't someone think of the children?
Yeah, think of the children. But that's not what this is about. The question I have is, why does the government want to do this? Is there some other reason, or are they just stupid?
Because, no, it's actually very smart. So they can say to the parents, look, you don't have to understand the internet. You don't have to stand over your kids' shoulders and watch what they're doing. We will do that for you. Let the big government take care of it for you. And it's kind of funny because the current government in there now is sort of my political leanings, but I'm looking at them wanting to slap them across the face, going, "No, this is stupid. What are you doing?"
Right. Johnny, I'm so glad you could call in. I know you're practically always there in our friend feed room. Johnny does a really great friend feed podcast called Fundercats. And where would we find Fundercats?
Fundercats is at fundercats.com. That's 2 F's for awesome.
2 F's for awesome.
Yeah.
Fundercats.com. Johnny, it's great to talk to you. And I'd like to add, we're starting to do something on the network where we do world news check-ins. We called it our Tech World Beat, and I'd love to add you to that list of people so we can, as we call around, talk to people.
I would love to be on it.
Thank you, Johnny. Really appreciate it. Johnny Worthington from Brisbane. I thought best to get this story from somebody who's actually living there. Kind of a crazy idea. But you say, John, this is the kind of thing that you see in other countries doing? This kind of filtering? Yeah. Why would they do that?
Half of Russia right now is filtered away.
Really?
There's in fact, in Brazil, where I'm fairly well known, half the country can't get to my blog.
So governmental filtering is not.
These are mostly ISP filtering right now.
Okay.
But why are they doing it?
Yeah, what's their interest in it? Maybe that's a competitive thing. If they say, "Hey, come to our ISP, we'll protect your kids."
Maybe.
But I'm fine with that, because then I would say, "Okay, have fun, and I'll be somewhere else." Well, Andrew, what's it like? Andrew's in Buenos Aires right now. What's the internet's? You obviously have great bandwidth in Argentina.
Oh, absolutely. And frankly, that's one of the reasons why I decided to come to Argentina. I think governments need to understand that they no longer have a chokehold on their people. We can fly, we can work from whatever country we want, and we're more and more going to pick the countries that have freedom, and that freedom to us is represented by what kind of internet access they give us, because that's what exposes us to ideas. That's what lets the world hear the ideas that we have. And if I'm going to start a company, I don't know that I would go to Australia and start it because of this. If I were an entrepreneur in Australia, I'd consider leaving and going someplace where I have the full internet at my disposal. And I could see why ISPs actually would want to be a part of this. It seems like ISPs are bothered that anything could go on their networks.
It lets them off the
They want
hook.
control.
And there's a subtle threat that if you don't do this, then you could be prosecuted as transporting child porn. Because they've been let off the hook up to now as common carriers, that they're not responsible, just as the phone company's not responsible for what you do on a phone. They're not responsible for the data that goes across their network. But if something like this happens, then it's kind of the implication is, well, if you don't do it, we might hold you responsible.
And then what are they going after next? Is it going to be what we watch? Is it going to be BitTorrent is also the next step after that? And then it's competitive phone services.
Somewhere behind all this lurks the RIAA and the MPAA.
Why do I feel like that's the case? I just always think
Why do you feel that? Yeah, I wonder why. Because it's always the case.
Yeah. These guys, they're such jerks. All right. Moving along, another story. Have anybody seen the BitTorrent Avatar? Boy, no, I'm sorry. Did I say BitTorrent? Anybody see Avatar yet in the theaters? Anybody?
What would you? No one's going to BitTorrent it because the experience is IMAX 3D.
See, why do you think it's IMAX 3D?
That's how you bypass the copyright worries.
Yep, exactly. You make it impossible to BitTorrent. Although, get ready, the Blu-ray Disc Association, Buddha, is BUDA, right? Buddha has decided that on a specification for delivering full 1080p high-definition stereoscopic video on Blu-ray.
Yeah, what's the mechanism here? Those crappy glasses that
well, you have to wear glasses. You have to wear glasses at Avatar too, right?
Yeah, but you don't wear shuttered glasses. Those are just polarizers.
Actually, they're doing something really weird with Avatar. They're doing 2 different wavelengths. And then you wear glasses that aren't shuttered and they aren't polarized. They have filters for the different wavelengths, so they separate the image using filters. It's a very interesting technology. I didn't know this. Yeah, no, this is how they're doing Avatar.
Which technology is that?
Don't know.
Have you seen it, Leo?
I have not seen it, and I've heard mixed reviews. Some people love it. Roger Ebert thought it was the greatest movie ever. And you guys seen it? Okay, we got a couple of people in this. Pull the microphone up there. We got a couple of people in the studio who have apparently seen it.
It is actually
Adam Jones. You're from L.A.
That's correct.
Tell us about. Pull that right up into your face so we can hear you clearly.
Hello.
There you go. So what did you think? Avatar, thumbs up. You gave it 2 thumbs up.
I haven't seen Avatar yet, but I do know a bit about
Oh, screw you.
I do know a bit about stereoscopic 3D.
No, actually, Adam he's a camera specialist for stop motion animation, so he actually knows a lot about this.
That's true. That's true. I worked on a film
Okay, so
called
tell us what
Dvorak.
this technology is.
Yes, the technology is it's digital projection, and it is using polarization. And rather than wavelength light, it's left spiraling and right spiraling.
The Avatar is not using that.
It's not using digital 3D.
It is not doing it that way, and that may be how they're going to do it with the Blu-ray. Well, at least, I talked to our home theater guy today on the radio show, and he said they weren't using the spiraling. I'm aware of the spiraling. That's how everybody's been doing it up to now.
And now
they were using wavelength manipulation for the 3D.
Interesting. Is that for better color?
I don't know. I mean, the real problem with all of this is you got to wear these dorky glasses, right? It's Dolby 3D is what they're using, and it's from Dolby, John.
I thought the Dolby technology was all polarizing.
No. I'll read this to you here. Let me find this here. I've got it. I found a post.
Dolby's probably the leader in this stuff.
Avatar. This is from from facepunch.com. The Avatar 3D viewing guide. It's using these tinted glasses, which I guess some of them might be using the IMAX spiraling.
It's really great technology.
I think IMAX is using spiraling. If you go to a Dolby 3D studio or theater, this is the Real D competitor. Real D is what a lot of people are using. Okay, I'm going to read you the different technologies. Real D
One of these days.
Is the most widely installed 3D system in the U.S. This is a regular, digitally projected theater using a 2K projector and a polarized 3D system. That's polarization. Pros, less ghosting than the IMAX 3D, which uses the spiral polarization you were talking about, and crystal clear and sharp digital projection. Glasses are brand new, and you can take them home with you, so you don't have to share glasses as you do it on IMAX.
Good health.
You could buy your own Real D compatible 3D glasses in designer brands on the net.
Oh, boy.
The Dolby 3D, which is the lead competitor, uses a color wheel 3D system off a single 2K projector. That's one of the advantages, one projector. Glasses are slightly tinted red-green. They're transparent, so screen brightness is not affected. They're reported to be very comfortable, apparently less ghosting than Real D, and a significant increase in the 3D effect. The cons, slight color aberrations can occur in certain scenes across the red-green spectrum, and glasses are reused. So Avatar is being seen in 3 different ways. You can get the IMAX.
They're actually they did all 3 technologies?
Apparently.
Wow.
Yeah, you can just.
Well, then we can go see it 3 different ways.
Pick
we can go
the
see
theater.
Let's make it a field trip.
And this same guide at facepunch.com says, for God's sake, don't watch Avatar in a 2D theater. This movie was, which by the way leaves me out because I don't have stereo vision. I only use one eye at a time, so I can't see this. This movie was made as a proof of concept for 3D movies. It would be pointless. You might as well watch The Wizard of Oz in black and white.
So what is this whirling thing you're telling me about?
So Adam Jones, describe this spiral technique. Is this what IMAX? I think it's what IMAX uses.
This is what Real D uses.
That's what Real D uses.
Yeah, so Real D has a digital projector, right?
Okay.
So traditional film is made in is projected in 24 frames per second, but Real D ups the to about 124 hertz or 148 hertz. Anyway, so
because they have to do twice as many frames.
Right. So you have 2 images, two oculars in your 3D projection, and
that's how they keep it from looking interlaced.
They aren't interlaced at all.
Right.
In fact, actually, they are projecting, like I said, 6 frames per 1 frame at 24 frames per second.
Wow, it's very high.
And you have a screen in front that is synced to each image, so it flashes.
It's shuttering,
right? But left, right, left, right, left, right for each 1 frame in a 24 frame per second cinema.
Okay.
And then your glasses are passive, so left eye is left spiraling and right eye is right spiraling.
So by using spiral polarization, they don't have to have a shuttering. So none of these use shuttering.
The image is projected digitally, so it's digitally shuttered, and then the
I see. The image
ocular
itself
division is made by a screen in
Can
front
you
of
go
the
to
projector.
any of these 3 technologies without the glasses, or
you need to separate the image because you're looking at it on the same screen.
it'll look at it weird? It'll just
and you need that
just be bizarre.
that interocular division.
Can I use my glasses from up?
Yes, that's the spiraling polarization. The Real D glasses are.
IMAX was invented in Canada. In Toronto. That's
Probably some of my relatives.
Yeah, probably, because you're fully 3-dimensional.
I know.
It's amazing. Even now on Skype, I don't know how you're doing that, but you're 3-dimensional.
I know.
So it doesn't say how they're going to do this on TVs. Do you know how they do it on TVs?
Some TVs are already 3D compatible.
Yeah.
In fact, they'll show you.
Are they using one of these 3 technologies?
I think they're using the spiraling technology, but you need active glasses to filter out
shuttering glasses,
right? To filter out each different ocular.
Yeah, that'll ruin you.
Well, the glasses are fairly comfortable.
But they're expensive.
Small.
They're hundreds of dollars,
right? And they're battery powered, so there's that.
You got a problem with the glasses. I mean, if you looked at the glasses when they first appeared, they didn't have these warnings out at first, but after a couple of incidents, I suppose. Now, if you buy a set of these, any of the shuttering devices, they tell you that if you're under, I think, the age of 9 or something like that,
cause
you can't
seizures.
use them. Well, no, it also does screws up with your ocular nerve.
Oh, that's good. It's like Steve Martin in The Jerk. He invented the handle that you put on your glasses, but it made everybody cross-eyed.
I've had great headaches from poorly done 3D.
This is not good.
You can really get eye strain.
I can't wait to get this technology in my home. So,
and I've talked to a lot of people that said they get headaches just putting them on.
I'm getting a headache thinking about it. The format relies this is for the new Buddha Blu-ray spec, relies on an extension to the H.264 encoding standard, provides for a fallback to 2D output on players that can't decode it. So you have to get a new player and a new TV. It requires it goes along with an update to the HDMI spec to support it. It's doing something called MVC, multi-view video coding. It's an extension to the H.264 AVC.
I wish they'd spend more money on good writing.
Just give me a story. You know what you know what the whole plot. Okay, you saw the movie, Adam. Oh, you didn't see the movie.
I didn't see
Has
Avatar.
anybody here seen Avatar?
I've
What
seen
a bunch of lame geeks you are.
It was released last week.
Yeah, but you're supposed to go to the midnight show for crying out
I
loud.
know. I was there for Watchmen. I did Up.
Aren't you glad you saw Watchmen before anyone else?
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
No, it was a crappy movie. That was the wrong answer.
Long. It was
It was
really
a
good film.
god-awful film.
Maybe I liked it.
See, I wait.
It wasn't that bad.
God-awful. I mean,
So Leo, let's go back to the way you said you see like separate eyeballs. You got one eyeball, so like a chameleon, one eyeball. Is this so one of your eyeballs can just keep an eye on all that cash you're making?
I always got an eye on you, John. I got to keep an eye on Dvorak because you never know what he's up
So
to.
he can look at that and still do the show.
No, I was born that way. It's something I can't remember what it's called, but it's strabismus or something.
I think Dvorak's going to go a little cross-eyed. He's got one eye on you and your money and another eye on the sign that shows his website that he keeps flashing. I don't know how
His
you can do
hat's
it
pointing a
without going
third
cross-eyed.
way. It's crazy. The man's insane. All right, as long as we're visiting channeldvorak.com, why don't we visit one of our fine sponsors? How about that? John, you may go baste your meat or whatever.
I
it is
always
you
have to baste the
do
meat.
in the middle of his silly show. Yeah, actually, costume change for Mr. Dvorak. I once saw Carol Channing, and she had in I think it was at the Venetian Room in the Fairmont where they have all the great acts, and she had what do they call those screens? Changing screens. And she would, like every song, she'd go behind the changing screen and come out with a new outfit. She wore 20 different outfits in one show.
Huh.
You're like that, John.
Yeah, sure.
Want to tell you a little bit about Audible.com. And I know, Andrew, you're an Audible listener. I tell you.
Let me quote Jason Calacanis and say, Audible.
Anybody,
I love it.
Anybody who spends any time. See, Lisa, I was going to set you up in that Mustang with all the Audible books. You could listen to books driving down to Vegas. It would have been so great.
I can learn.
She can't drive a stick.
You can teach me.
I'll teach you how to drive a stick. I'm gonna be teaching Abby and Henry, both my kids, to drive a stick. We can have
can
like
just
a
sit
little
on it.
driver. Yeah, we'll have a driver training thing. I'll just get a second brake and a steering wheel put in the car. Quick. Audible is the leading provider of audiobooks. More than 60,000. I think it's now up to 70,000 downloadable titles across all types of literature, including fiction, nonfiction, periodicals. And right now, you can get a free book just by joining Audible. Actually, I'm going to give you 2 books. Go to the Platinum plan, audible.com/twit2. Your first 2 books are free. And Andrew, you got a recommendation for us?
Oh, I got so many recommendations. Let me give you one. And if you let
How
me, I
long
would
have you
give
been an
more.
audio listener?
So
book
long
listener.
that my username on Audible actually includes the word Palm Pilot. Because
Wow.
I never thought I would have anything but a Palm Pilot to listen on.
Yeah, now it's on 135 or something like that devices, including your Zune and your iPod. So, tell us some of your favorites.
All right. Actually, here, let me give you 2 of them.
Okay.
First is a book called The Real Deal by James Caan. And I never heard of this guy before. To me, James Caan was the actor. But apparently James Caan is a businessman in the UK. And Audible kept showing me his book as one of the best sellers. And I finally said, all right, let's get it. Why not? Because you get these credits and it lets you experiment with books that you wouldn't otherwise listen to. Yeah, there it is. This is a guy who started out with nothing but a phone in a closet, essentially, and he built up one of the biggest businesses in the UK. He was in the HR business, in the headhunting space. And you watch him through this story go from being in this little room to building up a team of people in a smoky room that's still tiny but a little bigger than that little closet to a big company, and you watch it grow and you grow and you grow. And I trained for a marathon as I listened to this book, and man, did I run hard because of that. And that's one of the reasons why I turned to Audible. I love podcasts like yours and mine because you get about an hour and a half of information and it's fun to listen to. But for longer runs, for longer commutes, I like to get lost in a book.
Me
and
too.
some books like this one really motivate you and get you fired up.
James Caan, spelled just like the actor, Caan. The Real Deal, my story from Brick Lane to Dragon's Den. What else?
Yeah. All right, I'm going to give you another one because I listen to all your shows, and I don't think you guys talk enough about this. You don't just have to subscribe to books. It's not just books that you can sign up for with Audible. There's also magazines and radio shows and TV shows that you can listen to. And one of my favorites is Charlie Rose. I bought a 1-year subscription to Charlie Rose, and I keep renewing it. He's incredible. He brings authors on, and when he interviews an author, I almost don't need to read the book afterwards because he dives so deeply into it and makes it so interesting. So Charlie Rose is my second suggestion.
You know, that's a really good point. We don't mention often enough that Audible is more than just books. And, you can watch or listen to, really, TV shows like Charlie Rose. You can get the Wall Street Journal, which I imagine for somebody like you, Andrew, is a real boon to have that kind of thing.
And I think they give you the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times for free with a subscription. But in addition to it, you can sign up to something like, and you could tell me if I'm wrong, but in addition to that, you can sign up to a show like Charlie Rose, and you don't get just one episode for your credit. You get a month's worth of shows for that one credit, and you're giving people 2 credits so they can get more than that. That's
a really good point. I never get to see Charlie Rose. I always wish I were seeing it. A 1-month subscription can be added right to your cart. Audible, this is, Andrew, I'm glad we got you on. Great, 2 really great picks. Audible.com/twit2. You're going to get 2 credits when you sign up for the Platinum account, and I promise you're going to love it. The best way to spend time when you can't read a book, when you're stuck in the car or whatever. It's just fantastic. Thank you so much, Andrew, for your recommendations, and we'll put those in the show notes so you can just click a link. Audible.com/twit2. Thank you for your support, Audible. John, you back?
No, the guy's not back yet.
What the hell? Who is that? Who's that there? There's a guy with a hunting cap and a beard on.
I'm the Tech Grouch, techgrouch.mevio.com.
I've been watching your show, and you are grouchy. Why are you so angry, Tech Grouch?
What else is there to do?
Well, you could listen to an Audible book or something. I mean, you don't have to be so angry about everything.
Yeah, well, I listened to an Audible book once.
Yeah? What'd you think?
It was some guy talking in my ear. Where's the book?
Well, it's an audio book, see?
Huh.
Yeah. Do you have a computer, Tech Grouch?
Oh, yeah. I'm a computer expert.
Oh, you are?
Oh, yeah.
Is that because you live next door to Dvorak?
Yep.
He taught you everything he knows.
No, that's the joke of it. I taught him everything he knows. He doesn't know crap, that guy.
You mean you're the inspiration? You're the guy who teaches John C. Dvorak all this stuff?
Yep. It's always some old fart like me.
I didn't think there was anybody older than John C. Dvorak.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Plenty.
So is there anything here, we're going into the Christmas season, a little holiday cheer, a little holiday spirit from the Tech Grouch? You can't be grouchy all the time. Maybe there's something that you'd like to share with us that makes you happy.
Well, there is a lot of, you can buy your own 3D glasses nowadays. Bring them with you.
Anywhere you go.
I think there's a lice problem with some of these glasses.
Uh-huh.
They should not be recycling them.
That's a good point. Never really thought about
dangerous.
that. You don't know who's wearing that glass. Yeah.
Also, portable radio is handy.
Portable radio? Why would you need why would you need a portable radio?
Earthquake.
You're always ready, are you?
So the Dvorak says he's going to be basting his meat for a while. I don't know why it's taking him so long.
Well, why don't you join the show? And
only takes him 8 minutes or so.
I know. He's a little slow today. Let me introduce you to Andrew Warner here. He is from Mixerg.com. Andrew,
howdy.
He does they're podcasts, right, Andrew, about entrepreneurship and businesses on the internet.
I started out doing audio like you and then moved on to video the way you do. I'm going to follow everything you do. You go 3D, I go 3D, my friend.
You will never see me go 3D. I think that's something we're just going to have to, unless I get Adam here to help us out. Maybe he can. He does stop motion. This is kind of cool. Worked on Coraline.
Really stop motion this week in tech. I don't even have to move.
Yeah. And Tech Grouch. Let me
Tech Grinch.
Tech Grinch. Yeah, for the holidays, I think we'll call you the Tech Grinch. Right below you on the screen, Lisa Bettany from MostlyLisa.com.
Wow, she's pretty.
She's a photographer. You know, she's interesting because she's been a model. She's been an ice skater, professional ice skater. But now she takes pictures of other models and is a very accomplished photographer.
She's vertically integrated. That's what we'd say.
Yep. And she cannot drive a stick.
I can't. I can't be talented at everything. I have to have my weaknesses.
It's because when you were a teenager, you didn't focus on the things normal teenagers focused on.
Can't drive a stick.
Sorry.
The tech grouch is not happy. How old were you when you started ice skating?
Probably 3.
What?
2.
And when did you get really serious about it?
Probably when I was maybe 5 or 6.
What? Really? Is that true? Really?
I had determination.
She retired at 9.
And so you actually moved from Saskatoon to Vancouver to study with a coach, or was it Toronto? Where did you move to study with a coach?
Oh, well, I lived in Calgary and Toronto, both for following male partners, because, as you know, there aren't many male figure skaters, so you have to go where they are.
Go where the guys are, huh?
Yeah. So
San Francisco beckons.
We have a lot of male figure skaters in San Francisco.
Yep.
That's what I hear anyway. How old were you when you left home to kind of pursue this full time?
16.
See, this is why you don't know how to drive a stick. You were busy skating. And you were Olympics bound? Was that your goal?
That was my goal, and I'm really excited about the 2010 Olympics. And
coming your way to Vancouver.
I know, and I actually live a block away from the hockey venue.
Oh, that's great.
Like I can see it right out my window.
Exciting. So are you going to cover it for anybody?
I am. I'm going to be covering it for the Vancouver province, sort of a daily column and videos.
And how about are you going to go to all the figure skating events? You have to, right?
I mean, it's so hard to get in.
But won't it be kind of bittersweet to go to that? I should say your career was cut short by an injury.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely over that part of it. I don't like to watch the figure skating event because it's so tragic. Because it's always someone falls and someone loses it, and that's really hard to take.
That's
for
the
me.
best part.
Well, of course, you would think that.
Tech Grouch loves the figure skating. Just waiting.
Oh, they fall down. It's terrific. It's hilarious.
Just waiting.
They do it on purpose, by the way.
No, they do not, Tech Grouch. No, they don't fall down on purpose, do they, Lisa?
No.
Is there
Wait,
any?
Let me ask a question. So you're losing. You're not going to win. There's no chance. How about just going through the wall and getting on? At least you get on the Sports Center.
I have seen someone jump through the boards onto a camera.
On purpose?
No, as an accident.
Oh, how horrible!
Wow.
But she kept going. It was all good.
Oh, man, they just impressed the hell out of me. Yeah, 2010 Olympics. When does that start? It starts soon. Yeah,
in the 2010.
In 2010.
Yeah, it's really soon. I mean, there's a lot of hype going on right now, and I'll be covering some stuff in January. But I guess it starts on like sort of middle of February.
That's exciting.
And I've never been part of Olympic Games, and I'm sort of situated right in the middle of it. So I'll have to get a really long zoom lens so I can sneak some photos.
Somebody should get Lisa into the figure skating. That's ridiculous. So according to Ars Technica, Bing doesn't belong to Microsoft. Microsoft called its search engine Bingo for a while, then removed the O. I didn't know that. But then they called it Bing. But a small company in St. Louis, Bing Information Design, ! Is suing Microsoft. They're a web design firm dedicated to taking tough, hard-to-design concepts and boiling them down into simple, easy-to-understand ideas. They say that Microsoft's Bing causes confusion with regard to the relationship between plaintiff, Bing Information Designs, and defendant, Microsoft, confuses the public with regard to the origin of the plaintiff's services and dilutes the value of the plaintiff's trademarks. And they say Microsoft knew perfectly well that St. Louis Bing existed. It would just take a Google search to find it. And they're asking not only actual damages, but punitive damages. Oh, thank God you're back, John.
I had to get rid of that guy.
Oh, man, is he grouchy.
Such a
North
grouch.
Carolina, baby. North Carolina.
Nah.
Oh, I'm sorry, North Central.
Big difference, John. I don't want to say anything, but you got that one here last week, too, didn't you?
North Central, baby.
Oh, now he's all
Number
North Central.
one.
Number one what? They don't need. Do they have
I
a
have no
team?
idea.
You don't even know.
I never got a background around the school.
You just got the shirt. So
How about doing some tech news once in a while?
I did. We did. You were gone. The tech grouch. We did a bunch of stuff.
The tech garage. That guy's a loser.
Yeah. He wasn't really giving us what I would call insightful commentary.
No, that's how pathetic things have become.
Let's see here. I don't know.
Well, I'm looking at the story rundown, and there's a couple interesting ones.
Pick one that you like.
Well, it was the one at the top, which is not, I think, on the other page. Hang on.
You guys, actually,
The
our
French
audience
court
is
rules
about
against
to leave.
Google and books. That's a
Hold
plus.
on. Our audience wants to get out of here. So can we hurry this up so they can get going? Yeah, the court ruled against the Google book case. Paris court said that
It ruled against Google Books and the bookcase that the books are in.
They don't like the case. They don't like the books. They don't like anything about it. And they ordered Google to pay. Google is going to be thrown out of Europe, I think. They say they're breaking French law with their policy of digitizing books. They're getting a $14,000 a day fine, 10,000 euros, $14,000 a day, until Google rids the search engine of literary extracts. They also have to pay 300,000 euros in damages to a French publisher, which brought the case. Google will appeal, of course, but this is kind of underscores the problem Google's going to have in each and every country, one by one.
Well, they need Google more than Google needs them.
What would happen if Google just said, okay, we won't let anybody with a .fr. I mean, this is the solution, right? If it violates your laws, sorry, we won't let anybody with a .fr.
The French would probably think that's great.
Use Google. Yeah, they probably will. Probably backfire. Okay, no problem. We don't like you anyway. We'll use our little French thing called Google.
You think Google's going to buy Yelp? That's the other big story.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Google, does this Google Goggles. Did we talk about Google Goggles last week?
Yeah.
That was the recognition software that they won't let do faces, but recognizes monuments, logos, so forth. And shortly after they do that, TechCrunch says Google is going to buy Yelp, which is the biggest online service of reviews, end user reviews of businesses, restaurants.
A very useful site, especially if you would like to, want to go to a new restaurant and you want to check it out.
Yeah. So imagine combining Google Goggles with augmented reality, which Google already has, with Yelp. Now you've got everything on one. And I think we're heading towards, we talked about this yesterday on Twig, towards the Google HUD. A heads-up display that you wear, just a little helmet. You actually probably fit in your hoodie, John. I think he's wearing it right now. It looks like Darth Vader. You put a little plastic screen.
I'm your father, Leo.
I don't know. That's a scary thought.
It'll be a second set of glasses. We'll have to have glasses for 3D, glasses for for Google Goggles.
Lisa won't mind. She was wearing 3 headsets earlier.
I know. I really.
You could wear several pairs of glasses at the same time.
I could. But the whole thing of augmented reality, have you actually used Yelp Monocle?
Yeah, they're already doing it.
But it's all, it tells me that there's a Chinese restaurant in my wall.
Well, you're supposed to use it inside.
Or look in your wall. Google can't be wrong. There might be one.
Yeah, that's true. They might be right. You're supposed to look. Lisa, I know you don't like to go out, but you're supposed to go outside and be on a street, and then you point the Yelp monocle around.
But I want to know before I make that big leap.
Well, don't use the augmented reality then. That's a mistake. I think it's just kind of a natural. Only TechCrunch has said this. Google hasn't commented on this, and it hasn't gone through yet. But it does seem like an obvious thing for Google to pick up. A lot of 25 million unique users every month. Lots of very good reviews. Yes, Andrew?
What's surprising to me is that they weren't able to create as robust a community on Google itself. I know that when I do a search for a restaurant and I do a search for other businesses on Google, Google gives me the ability to, or they give me a platform to give my review of it. But it hasn't been as robust as Yelp. It's interesting to see that Yelp, even with Google battling them and coming into their space, has been able to hold their own.
Do you get Yelp in Argentina?
You know what? I don't think so. I could use it. What have you got on your head now?
It's my mom.
No, I took off the hoodie. You were complaining. You couldn't see me.
Oh, John. John has long gray hair now. I don't know where that came from. Do you have that in whatever?
You think I'll just do anything to get a cheap laugh?
Yes.
Okay.
Clearly.
Can you look up, Olivia? I've got my wife here watching us. This is my big moment here. I'm on This Week in Tech, so I wanted her to know that she.
Does
married the
Olivia
right
even
man.
know
She'd be
what this
impressed
week? Does she
by
even
my
know?
new fame.
Does she even know
Can
what
you,
this
Olivia,
is?
look up Yelp in Argentina, see if it has the restaurants that we like here, and see if the reviews are
I'm sure
accurate?
it doesn't. I'm sure it doesn't.
They might. You might be surprised. This thing has gone worldwide.
I'm sure there's an
Argentina
Argentine.
with services like Priceline and other services that we've come to rely on in the U.S. They exist here, but they're not as robust because there isn't the culture that there is in the U.S. There aren't as many reviewers. There aren't as many hotel operators that are participating.
Right.
At least in the little bit that I've been here, that's what I found.
You raise an interesting point, though, John. Why, or Andrew? Why Google couldn't do this itself? And I think Google is just historically not very good at creating community. Now, Orkut.
Well, they did a good job with Orkut in Brazil.
Well, that's what I found interesting. That there are some places where Orkut is huge, but not here.
Right.
It did not take off here, and I'm not sure
Well,
what.
the Brazilians are the most sociable people in the world, so they jump on a social networking thing like there's no tomorrow.
But why that and not Facebook?
They look like Timothy Leary.
Yeah, a little
think
bit.
So.
A little like Andy Warhol, actually, too.
Yeah, if you could give it a bowl cut. So, I mean, out of curiosity, John, why do you have that wig in your office?
It's not a wig.
Okay. It's just a strange thing.
I'll tell you this. You want to hear the story about the wig?
Yeah.
So I was when I was developing a character that you may have seen once in a while that he wears a long beard, I actually had an original idea, and I was going to use this on the Cranky Geek Show, and I had this wig along with a white beard, and it was a Santa Claus outfit, and this wig was just this curly mess.
It doesn't look curly anymore. It's what happened.
My daughter grabbed the wig one day and she combed it out, and now it's just like this. And I didn't realize that it was actually a real wig of some sort. So I couldn't use it for anything.
You could use it for a Santa that got caught in the rain. You could use it for something like that.
Yeah, I guess I should throw some water on it.
Yeah, the wet Santa.
I think this is my new look.
It's a good look.
I'm gonna end up looking this way.
Did you
anyway.
ever have long hair? Ever? Like when you were at Berkeley, did you have long hair?
I only had long hair to a point. I could get my hair. I couldn't wear it this long because my hair is extremely thin and it would always have the split ends and it would drive me nuts. So I'd be scratching my face all the time. So I could never really have long hair.
Wow. That's more of a revelation than I really thought I would get.
Nobody really needs to know.
On split ends.
I'm scratching my face all day.
Comcast is doing something really interesting. They just started doing this. I'm a Comcast customer. I checked it out, and it's true. Users who are dual play subscribers of Comcast cable and Comcast high-speed internet, this is one way that they can keep you using both, can log on to something called Fancast, which Comcast has had for a long time, or Comcast.net, and they can see on demand pretty much anything they get on their cable.
Huh.
If you have HBO content, you can watch HBO content. 27 partner networks, including A&E, History, ABC, Style, G4, Ovation, Travel, TLC, Animal Planet. Comcast is essentially trying out cable via the internet.
It's not enough.
Really cool.
It's not enough? Is this
No.
a last-ditch attempt to save Comcast?
It's another attempt.
like
It's not
they're
a
not
last
making any
ditch
money.
one, but they're going to keep trying these things. I think they need a bigger vision here. One of the problems, by the way, with this is that you need to be dual pay. You need to pay for cable and you need to pay for internet through them. And I don't want cable at all if I'm on my computer.
That's a good point. But wait a minute. What if though that your cable included all these shows on the internet as well?
I still don't want a TV anymore. TV to me seems like an out of date technology. I want to watch on my computer. I want to watch on my iPhone. I want to watch away from my home, away from my desk. I think we need somebody with a big vision here. Somebody to stand up and say,
I want a big screen, not a big vision.
Yeah, home theater. We just were talking about that. How about you, Lisa? Do you watch all your TV on the computer?
I do. I don't have a TV.
Yeah, I think that this is true among people in their 20s now. I know Colleen, same thing. Now, you're in Canada, so Rogers has done something similar, haven't they? I think Rogers has put... You're not a Rogers. No, but that's right. I guess you'd have to be a Rogers subscriber, but I believe Rogers has done something very similar because you can't get Hulu in Canada. So they said, all right, no problem. We'll do something.
Well, you can. If you're sneaky.
You can go through a Tor network, maybe.
What do you do? Use a proxy?
Proxy?
Yeah. Hotspot Shield.
And it works like in real time? You get able to watch video?
It's not bad.
What's the name of this thing? Hotspot Video?
Hotspot Shield. I know Shield. It's actually a very good service. I use it too.
What do you use it for,
Do you get a lot of lag with that? A lot of buffering?
That's what I'd be worried
I've been
about.
Testing out. Sorry?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'd be worried about, is that you wouldn't get so it works pretty well.
It's not bad. I mean, sometimes you get a bad connection, but I mean, it's better than the other option, which is nothing.
Slingbox.
True.
Slingbox. Here's a story from Maine. A Maine legislator wants to make the state the first to require cell phones to carry warnings they can cause brain cancer. Even though no one, they still talk like that. No, they don't.
They do talk like
no one in Maine talks like this anymore. Even though there's no consensus among scientists.
Now you're starting to sound like Roosevelt.
I know. I think I noticed that. I'm turning into Roosevelt. Today is a day which will live in infamy.
Another joke that nobody gets. Roosevelt.
You and me, John. Well, we're the only two people who remember what Roosevelt sounded like. The now ubiquitous devices carry such warnings in some countries. I didn't know this. Some countries actually warn. Gavin Newsom wants San Francisco to require warnings on cell phones, even though there is no evidence and no consensus among scientists that cell phones cause cancer. They want to put it on there anyway.
Well, dadgummit.
Federal Communications Commission, which sets standards for cell phone safety, does not require handset makers to divulge radiation levels. And they have set a standard for specific absorption rates. In fact, I remember when I was at the FCC headquarters, they had a human dummy filled with some gooey stuff that simulated the viscosity and density of flesh. And they had a machine that would take a cell phone and move it in small increments around the body. And then inside the viscous material, they had receivers, and they were measuring the radio transmission, how much energy was absorbed by various cell phones. I mean, I guess it doesn't hurt anybody to have a warning on it, but the question is there any, there really isn't evidence that there are risks.
Maybe it does hurt us, because if we keep seeing these warning signs that really don't have any scientific basis, we're going to start ignoring the ones that do have a scientific basis.
Good point.
And that's where I think the damage is.
That's happened in California, right, John? Because everywhere you go, you see Prop 65 warning. Chemicals in this building are known to cause cancer.
Right, they got them all the gas pumps, too.
Everywhere. Oh, jeez. Everywhere. And you do. You get numb to it, and you no longer care, and you see warnings, and you couldn't care less. It's like, so what? It's their BS warnings.
I took off my makeup, so what?
He took off his makeup, is right.
Do you see the mask that he's got on, that John C. Dvorak has on? Imagine that in 3D and tell me you don't want to take TWiT to 3D.
All right, you're right. You know what? TWiT should be 3D. That knows that proboscis is coming right at. Ooh, it's 3D.
What is that mask?
Yeah, that's a mask. It looks like actually looks like Dick DiBartolo from the Daily Gizwiz, actually.
It's the Dick DiBartolo mask.
That's exactly what it looks like. It kind of in a weird, distorted Dick DiBartolo. Keep your finger out of that nose. That's huge. Are you scared, Lisa? Don't be scared. It's just John. You haven't worked with him as long as I have. That's a very good point, Andrew, that these warnings have the complete opposite effect.
I got one on my mattress. I've got one on my phone soon, on my keyboard, on my wine.
It's the nanny society that we live in these days. And I wouldn't mind if there were evidence, but there's absolutely no consensus. And in fact, most scientific consensus is that at the levels that the cell phone is working at, that the energy levels it's working at, that they're harmless. Unless you glued it to your head and wore it around as a hat, which John might be doing.
Slept with it under your pillow.
Do you?
Maybe.
Why do you do that? Do you think maybe you get an emergency call in the middle of the night? Are you worried?
I just like to hold it when I sleep.
It's the iPhone, isn't it?
Do you keep it on vibrate?
Hey, stop that, you ugly
Oh, come on.
jerk.
I just was wondering.
Jerk. Time to talk about Squarespace, and I'm going to let John do a costume change because I don't like the John C. Dvorak I'm seeing here today. Squarespace is a great place that lets you, my friends, design your own website using such easy-to-use tools. You start with beautiful templates, but it's more, and it's, by the way, not just a blog. It's exceptional websites of all kinds. Lisa, you'd love it for a photo blog. People use it for forums. Great statistics. Beautiful, intuitive editing, all the social media you'd ever want. Sites start at just $8 a month. You can blog, you can build, you can host, design. Most importantly, you can impress. And I want you to try it free right now. You don't even need a credit card. Go to squarespace.com/twit. Squarespace.com/twit. Try it. It's very easy to get your data into it. In fact, this is one of the things that really I think is a great selling point of Squarespace. It imports data from all the major blog engines and exports, so you're never trapped from TypePad, from WordPress, from Blogger. Just get that data over and take a look, and boy, these templates are gorgeous. You start with a great-looking site, but then you build it, you move it around. They have amazing iPhone app, Lisa, so you can blog from under your pillow. Have you seen the iPhone app? It's really, really slick.
I haven't. I mean, I've been on WordPress for a while now, but it's starting to, I don't know, it's not giving me what I want. So I'm definitely looking at Squarespace.
You know what? I'm a WordPress user too, and one of the things I worry about, and one of the reasons we've started to move our TWiT blogs over to Squarespace is every 5 minutes there's a security issue, and if you don't keep on top of your WordPress blog and update immediately, you get hacked.
Yeah, hacked, and your site will go down.
It's ugly.
And it's sort of every, there's an update all the time, and all the plugins, and it's just such a nightmare to deal with.
The beauty of this is they keep it updated. You don't have to do anything. The engine is always up to date. You're on their servers. It's just 60 templates, 1, 2, and 3 column styles, drop-down menus, point-and-click visual design lets you drag and change, widths and everything. It is so beautiful, so elegant. SEO optimized, of course, WYSIWYG editing interface, spam filtering, great for podcasting, code insertion and video insertion directly from the WYSIWYG interface, full iTunes support, Lightbox for your pictures. I know you like Lightbox. It's the analytics. I mean, just go to squarespace.com and take a look. Actually, squarespace.com/twit, and you'll get 10% off if you use the coupon code TWiT when you sign up. Squarespace is amazing. Our Inside TWiT blog is running on it now, and I'm just thinking, boy, I got to move everything over there. Squarespace.com/twit, the place to go.
Yay.
Let's see what John looks like now. He just looks normal.
Yeah. Looks like I got breasts, though. Maybe it's the lighting.
It's the lighting.
3D, I'm telling you.
You want to see what John really looks like?
There we go.
There you go. There you go. What else is going on in the world? Anything else? We got to wrap this up. What is the big story? What are people talking about in Argentina in tech, Andrew?
You know what? Actually, here's what I'm noticing around here. Theft is what they're talking about in Argentina. So I brought my iPhone here. I'm able to connect it to the local carrier because I jailbroke my phone. But I can't take it out in public because I'm worried that someone's going to steal my phone. Apparently, there's theft. There's rampant theft for that. Computers, you can't take them out. I'm wondering if we need to lower the prices of these computers just to bring the rest of the world in, so that they're not theft bait anymore, so that they're more accessible to people I mean, in Argentina, they can afford to buy these computers.
Isn't
But I want to bring more people
Argentina like
online.
Brazil, isn't Argentina like Brazil, where they tack on some of these ridiculous tariffs, and so these things are extremely expensive?
People find out that I'm American, and they keep asking me to have my friends, when they come visit me, bring Dell computers for them and other computers.
Right, that used to be rampant in Brazil.
So in effect, you create this black market, this underground, where thieves are rewarded because if you buy it in country, it's so expensive.
Yes.
Yeah,
and how are they going to encourage technology and innovation here when people have to pay so much for the basic computers?
It makes no sense to me either. I've always thought it was screwy.
It does seem like the thing to do if you're a government, if you want to encourage innovation in business, is you make the internet unfiltered, widely available, high speed, inexpensive. You make sure technology is in the hands of people, and then you let them go and you let them do it. And I think, the U.S. isn't a perfect example either. We pay a lot more for our internet than in a lot of countries, and we get worse quality than in a lot of countries. And there's a constant pressure on the internet to shut down free and open internet. But boy, that seems to be obvious that that's the key to success in this modern economy.
And it's also easy in the U.S., and we don't realize this. It's a lot easier to start a company in the U.S. than it is in much of the world.
Oh, really?
You could just call up one of these instant company corporations, and they set you up with a company within days. You can't do that in other countries. You have to go through bureaucracy. You have to pay. You have to wait.
Yeah, I used bizfilings.com. I asked Kevin Rose, who's got about 80 different LLCs. I said, how do you do it? He says, bizfilings, costs you a couple $100. You got a business. That's all you have to do. And I was an LLC, just like that. Of course, I brought it to a lawyer later. He said, I wish you'd come to me first. But
now you're screwed.
No, it's fine. We're a Delaware corporation. And I found out later that people do Delaware corporations because venture capitalists like it. And I that was not a good reason to do it. I had to pay extra money to be a California whatever.
We found that Washington State has a liberal approach to these things. That's what we do our work.
Do you have a recommendation, Andrew? You do this a lot. Incorporate.
For starting a company, you know what? I actually used to create my companies as Delaware corporations the way that you did. But after 9/11, it became a problem. It became harder to open up bank accounts in California if you've got a Delaware corporation.
We had to become a California registered corporation. We're still Delaware, but you pay extra money and you're California registered, and then it's a lot easier. You're exactly right.
Hey.
Lisa.
And frankly, what they'll tell you is that if you ever do need venture capital or do need to go public and need to be a Delaware corporation, you just form a Delaware corporation and have it acquire your other business so that you've got all those benefits.
Should have done that. Andrew is at Mixergy, MIXERGY.com. Go there. And there's some great interviews, wonderful stuff up there. And I know you have a big fan base of people who have been begging me to get you on TWiT, so I'm so glad we could get you to do it, even though you're in Argentina.
I'm so appreciative of people who heard me say that I'd like to be on here and actually emailed you or tweeted at you.
Man.
Thank you guys for telling them. I've been dying to be on the show.
The network, it's great. Well, we're glad you.
Well, you're pretty much in the same right time zone because north and south. It's not like when we talk to people in the UK, they're like at 2 a.m.
Right.
Oh, yeah, this is nice. 10 p.m. almost here now on a Sunday.
Beautiful evening, I'm sure, too, in Argentina. Mixergy.com. Thank you, Andrew. Lisa Bettany, how's the photography going? Are you doing a lot of photography? I see your Flickr all the time.
Yeah. I mean, since I got my 5D Mark II, which my baby.
My baby.
I think if he proposed, I would accept.
He's a beautiful camera. He's a gorgeous camera. If you go to Mostly Lisa, that's Lisa's website. You're still Mostly Lisa on Twitter, right? You got that back?
I am, yes.
Yep.
Yes, I am.
But MostlyLisa.com is the place to go to see everything you want to know about Lisa. She's also doing some great pieces on photography if you want to learn about photography. So that's kind of fun. A lot of tips. Look at this voice morphing app. This is, I don't know what you're up to, but it looks silly.
That was very silly.
It looks really funny. Fisheye Fever, how to take better portraits. It's really a great site. You're doing a great job, Lisa. And if you would just learn how to drive a stick, then you could drive.
I can try.
It's the one thing we didn't ask.
Take a Mustang with a 400 horsepower engine and give her the stick to try.
It is a little powerful. But it's fun. We'll figure it out. So thank you so much for joining us. MostlyLisa.com. I don't have to tell you where you can find John C. Dvorak because he's been flogging it throughout the show. ChannelDvorak.com is the place to go. There it is. You see? All the stuff's there, including his neighbor, the tech grouch.
Deke
the tech grouch hangs.
He left his hat. I'm going to have to go over there, and I hate to see this guy more than once in a while.
Does he said he taught you everything you know.
That's bull.
Good. We've got John fighting with himself now. I want to thank Adam Jones for being in studio with us and kind of setting the record straight on 3D. That's really great. And Johnny Worthington for calling in from Brisbane. We appreciate that, too, Johnny, for staying up late with us. We thank you all for watching. We have a very special TWiT coming up on Christmas Eve. You're going to get an extra special TWiT on Thursday night. It's the TWiT Holiday Special with John Hodgman, PC from the I'm a Mac ads, Jonathan Colton, the great balladeer, creator of the song Code Monkey and Still Alive, and I think he's going to perform Still Alive for us. Merlin Mann, Mr. Productivity, and one of the funniest guys in show business. And a visit from Cammie Blackstone because Munchcast is back after winning the Podcast Award. We do want to thank the Podcast Awards for naming this the best video podcast, even against the likes of Dignation and TED Talks. I don't know how that happened, but I think I owe a great debt of gratitude to all of you who watch. So thank you very much. We do this show live every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific at live.twit.tv. You can now see video. Not only on the website, twit.tv, we've got it on YouTube. We've got a special YouTube channel for all TWiT video. It's youtube.com/twit. And the iTunes feeds are coming any minute now. And, of course, if you have a Roku, a popcorn player, or a TV with Yahoo widgets, a variety of other devices, including the Android phones and the Palm Pres, you can watch us there as well. Just look for TWiT in your application store. Any way you want to get us, that's where we want to be. And we thank you so much for your support. Another TWiT is in the can. Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy Hanukkah.
Round the horn. Round the horn.